I got stuck in a lucid dream experience. As the title says, I got stuck in my lucid dream a while back and was only able to wake up when my dream eventually convinced me I wasn't dreaming. It started out as a normal dream but got weird after the first half. Here's the story. I dreamt I was big pregnant and went to the hospital to give birth. The birth was slower, easy, and pretty painless, and then I had a baby girl. I was with my family, and so we started on our way home, and I decided to put a post on the PALS website that I had had my baby. As we drove home, we stopped, and I got out of the car with my daughter, and we walked home from a good distance. The floor was squishy and made of some soft air mattress material, and I was holding my daughter the whole time. Mama and a few people stopped to chat, and it was pitch black out, so I sat down to look at the stars with my baby. She was a newborn, but looked and acted like a 1-year-old, so I was gently explaining what constellations were and talking about how pretty the stars were, and she was loving it. We were back in the car and driving home, and I was sitting on the floor in front of my baby, and she started fussing, so I moved to take her out and cuddle her. The feeling of her against my chest was euphoric, something I'd never felt before, as if she was giving me all the love in the world. I just wanted to squeeze her because I loved her so much. She was just so perfect, so I quickly put her back in her car seat and basically fangled over how much I loved her and vice versa. When we got home, I went to the window near the stairs and saw 6 moose standing outside. I exclaimed to Mama because I was so shocked, and as I was looking, the scene changed to a walkway, theme park type thing with a ton of tourists trying to get pictures. The moose of Sea Purse didn't like that, so they began attacking and throwing people and trying to trample them all while I was recording in .5. Nobody died, but an old man got thrown pretty back and thrashed around. Some got trampled and some hit their heads on stuff, but it was okay besides that. A few people managed to pin a moose by one woman simply pushing it over because it was charging some kids that I stepped in to save, and they grabbed it and tried to grab its head, but it kept thrashing, so I left. Then I was at home with my family taking care of my daughter while she slept on an air mattress on the floor of my bedroom. I didn't have a husband or anything. I was just living with Mama and Daddy and Abby and Caitlin. I was talking with Mama about the birth and how I didn't even need stitches when it slowly dawned on me. I'd never had sex before. How was I pregnant and then had a child? Not to mention Mama was pregnant right then as well, so I was thoroughly confused. I became lucid right then and started freaking out because I was claiming it was a dream and trying to wake up, but I couldn't even when I got Mama to pinch me. I then had a realization that I was an idiot for trying to wake myself up from something I'd been trying so hard to have. So I decided that even though I was trapped, I would make the most of it. To prove it was a dream, I decided to try and float, and of course it did, so I chuckled at my own freak out and decided to try and summon a Genshin character. I turned away and tried summoning Alhatham and then realized I didn't want to see him, so I tried doing Tainari, but he just didn't look right cause my brain was trying to make him look realistic and it just wasn't working. I kept making my mind retry it, but it just was so close but not quite right, so I decided to try something else and forget about the characters. I had to think for a moment, but decided to try and make the room I was playing with in the day before a plain white sterile room with nothing in it. I claimed there would be a plain white room behind the door I was opening, and when I opened it, that was almost the case, besides a big stripe of black going on the side walls and a bunch of giant motorcycles on those walls. I tried 100 times to make the room just plain white, but it refused to do it, as if I was asking it to jump off a cliff. I kept trying different methods, but the closest I could get it was with a door and a hall. My mind couldn't comprehend that a room could have no doors or hall or windows. I then woke up, or so I thought, and still assumed I was dreaming because I had my daughter on my floor and also a man beside her. I felt really off, so I tried to fly again, but just fell on my butt. This concerned me greatly because everything felt so real, it was insane. I was looking around, trying to find out if I was dreaming or not, and I tried so hard to wake myself up, but nothing was happening. I was starting to panic, so I tore the covers off the guy that first knew as my husband, and he woke up all groggy and asked what was wrong. I told him I thought I was dreaming, but I couldn't wake up, and he assured me I wasn't dreaming. I asked him how old I was, but he didn't give me a straight answer and just acted like I was being weird. I kept trying to wake myself up, but nothing was working, so in my panic I ran down the steps to find Mama. The lights were all on, and I saw Mama in the bathroom, but thought she was Daddy and even said, "You're not Mama," as I went downstairs. I found Daddy sleeping downstairs, but no Mama, and when she came down, she was irritated until I started freaking out and explaining I had to be dreaming because I didn't remember the past 10 years, thinking I was 26. So I asked her how old I was, and she said 36, which made me feel so old and panicked that I was hyperventilating really bad. I kept asking questions like who my husband was and what was going on, and she realized I was really messed up about this, so she asked how old I thought I was, and I told her 26 and that I didn't remember the past 10 years. All I remember is being in my bed 1 minute and stuck here the next. I was panicking because I thought I'd missed out on 10 years of my life to be stuck with a military-looking man and my 5-year-old child. Not to mention we still lived with my parents. She started reminding me of things about my child and husband. trying to jog my memory, and it sort of worked because I started remembering their faces doing certain things or my husband telling me things. The dream then cut to my husband doing pull-ups with hooks on a slanted ladder thing, and a guy he didn't know was standing below him and wanted to do the exercise as well. My husband was trying to teach him how to do new versions of it to get his pecs really well, but the guy couldn't do it properly. When I woke up from this dream, I had a really weird feeling of dread until I realized I'm still 19 and not 26 or 36, and I have no kids or husband Eben, though I'd come to terms with it. I also noticed I'd taken my eye mask off in the middle of the night and put it on my nightstand, so that was weird.